Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, black and white accent, red hood. This is based off his look in the new 52. This guy sold out pretty quickly, although I saw them put him back up in stock about a month later. And he's finally here today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Target or Walmart. This particular Gold Label is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. DC, Batman logo, red hood from the new 52, black and white accent edition, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, limited to 7,400 pieces. McFarlane Toys, that's the front, the side, red hood, new 52. Other side, pretty blank. On the back, here's red hood posed up. This is one of McFarlane's deluxe figures. Remove the outer sleeve, and you can see the figure on the inside. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And of course, I did get two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a large display stand, a collector's card, and then a stand for the collector's card. One thing is missing is his two pistols. Now, I was surprised that he even came with the holsters. As most of you guys know, Warner Brothers has a no-gun mandate. Any officially licensed DC figures cannot come with guns in any way, shape, or form. And it's very unfortunate, as Red Hood is a gun character. Now, the original version of the New 52 Red Hood came with guns. That rule only started after that. I'm sure I can find some guns to give this guy, but just wanted to point out that little disappointment. So this is Red Hood. His real name is Jason Todd. He was the second Robin following Dick Grayson and before Tim Drake. In the comics, he was killed by the Joker and eventually resurrected, came back as Red Hood. That was sort of an enemy of Batman at first, and now he's part of the Bat family. So let's take a look. This is the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white with red accent variation. So I love the new 52 Red Hood figure McFarlane made. It's one of their best figures. It's fantastic. Helmet looks good. You can see the black line going through the helmet. A little more pronounced than the original version. White eyes. He's got the leather jacket. Collar popped up. Sleeves rolled up. Then he has sleeves of the shirt underneath. Then he has a skin which is done in sort of a zombie-like gray. He's got the red bat symbol on the chest. He's got the empty holsters he comes with. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed knees. Like I said, I always thought this Red Hood was one of McFarlane's best figures. He's just really cool, a lot of personality, and looks like his typical biker look, which is the look that I always wanted from Red Hood. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I like this figure, very well done, and this is a pretty cool variation. Now to look at his accessories. Let's start off with the display stand. So, display stand. This is a lot different than the typical McFarlane display stand. This one is a rectangle. It has the Red Hood sort of Batman logo in the middle. One peg for the pegals on his feet. Kind of hollow, kind of basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Red Hood. He's got smoke all around him. There's a little crowd in the background. Red Hood, black and white edition. On the back side, certificate of authenticity. This is number 2174 of 7,400. Now this doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display the collector's card next to your figure, you have a little display stand. Here you go. Now one accessory he should have come with and didn't, just like I mentioned before, are some pistols. Now I took some pistols from the McFarlane accessory pack number 1, and let's see if they fit with Red Hood's hands and holsters. Here are these new pistols I chose for Red Hood, next to the ones that came with the original New 52 Red Hood. Now the guns are not exactly the same sculpt. The original ones have a little bat symbol carved into the side, and I chose the bigger of the two guns that came with the McFarlane gun pack number 1. Now, the original ones are silver, and the new ones are black, and that's perfect, because this is a black and white accent Red Hood, so the guns are going to be black. Here's Red Hood, holding those guns. Fit his hand pretty nicely. And here he is, holstering those pistols. They fit pretty good in both his hands and his holsters. Now I wanted to check out the differences between this new Big Bad Toy Store black and white accent Red Hood and the original release. Beyond the obvious paint differences, it's 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation, of course, minus the guns. So let's take a closer look. Start with their helmets. Now the original one has a very glossy, sort of semi-metallic look. Perfect for the helmet. This one has a little bit flatter paint. You can see the black lines a little more prominent. They're both very nice, although I definitely prefer the original version. You can see the brown leather jacket. His is black. The outfit, bat symbols both red. Now the armored sort of part is black here, gray here. You can see the sleeves underneath. They're black on him, gray on him. Then the skin color, flesh on him, gray on him. They both have black gloves. Holsters, pretty much the same. His has sort of a silver shiny thing here, and his are a little more gray. Of course, I give them different pistols. Then the pants, his are pure black. His are gray, and you can see some sort of black stripes there. And then the boots, both done in a black color. They both look very nice, but I'm going to have to give it up. This is one of my favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figures ever. He holds up very nicely today. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up, not very much, but down a pretty good amount. Can tilt his head from one side to the other, giving him a nice amount of personality. Shoulders, ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have that butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that, hidden very nicely with a rolled up sleeve. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged just the tiniest bit. In his torso, he's got a ball joint, also hidden pretty nicely with the armor. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso area. Legs, complete does splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation, it's minimal, but there. Legs go forward all the way, back not much. Double jointed knees, and then his ankle, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, articulation. Here he is in my red hood shelf, getting ready for a new mission. You can see his helmet on the table, all the gear in his armory. And after he gets geared up, here he is, driving his bike through the streets of Gotham. But little does he know, he's being followed. Here's Red Hood, about to execute a couple of criminals. And of course, Nightwing disagrees. And Nightwing tells him, "You know I can't let you do this. It's not what we do." And Red Hood says, "They have information about the Red Hood gang. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this." And just as they start to fight, and now the situation has changed. They're surrounded and they have to help each other take out the Red Hood gang. And later on, here's the Nightwing and Red Hood taking on a gang of street thugs. They found out they work well together. Here's McFarlane's version of the Bat Family on a rooftop in Gotham. Here's this Red Hood next to a bunch of different versions of the Rebirth Bat Family. We've got Batwoman, Azrael, Nightwing, Batman, Batwing, Robin, Red Hood, Ace the Bat Hound, and Red Robin. Then we've got Huntress, Black Canary, Batgirl, Duke Thomas, The Signal, Katana, Bluebird, Orphan, and Spoiler. Here's Red Hood, or Jason Todd, in his base, his lair, his hideout. You can see his armory in the background, got his helmet on the table, ready for action at any given time. And after the bat signal's lit, he knows it's time to act. Here he is, rushing through the streets of Gotham City on his motorcycle, driving all the way through the city to meet up with Batman and the other allies. Then he meets up with Batman and the rest of the former Robins, and they get ready for another night's activities. And here's a look at both the regular and the black and white accent versions of the Red Hood together. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Red Hood figures. Here's the new black and white accent Red Hood next to the original release. Like I said before, one of my favorite McFarlane DC Multiverse figures ever. And of course, like usual, they made an unmasked variation of this guy, Jason Todd, on the same body. Head looks pretty good though. And here he is, next to the 3 Jokers Red Hood, which they made 2 variations of as well. Then, next to the Gotham Knights Red Hood, which they also made 2 variations of. And now, next to the Arkham Knight Red Hood, which they also made 2 variations of. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Red Hood figures they've made so far. I thought I remember Todd saying that he was going to be doing an Under the Red Hood version of Red Hood, which really excites me. And I could have sworn a long time ago there was a rumor of an Injustice 2 Red Hood. Hell, bring them all on. I do believe on the leaked list there's also going to be Red Hood or Jason Todd as Batman. And here he is, next to all of the DC Direct and DC Collectibles Jason Todd figures. Then, with my Mattel Jason Todd figures. And now, next to the amazing Yamaguchi Red Hood. Here's this new Red Hood, next to a Mafex Jason Todd as Hush figure. And here he is, next to a custom Marvel Legends style Red Hood. I made this custom years before any company was making Jason Todd Red Hood figures. Here are all of my different Jason Todd as Red Hood figures. Not all my Jason Todd figures. No Jason Todd as Batman, no Jason Todd as Hush, but Jason Todd as Red Hood in his typical red helmet and biker outfits. Technically, these Arkham Knight figures are also Jason Todd, although in my action figure world, I use Arkham Knight as a completely different character, just like the comics. Here's this Red Hood, next to a custom Jason Todd in civilian attire that I put together a long time ago, McFarlane style and size. And here he is, next to another custom Jason Todd in civilian attire. This one is 6-inch scale. And no company has ever made Jason Todd as Robin. But way back in the day, Mattel made this DC Universe Classics Dick Grayson Robin, both the original version and a little bit of an older version. Personally, I use the one on the left as Dick Grayson Robin, and then one on the right is Jason Todd Robin. Now you can't have Jason Todd Red Hood without his motorcycle. I use this G.I. Joe Classified Baroness motorcycle because it's red and black, it has guns on it, and it fits him pretty good. This is my Red Hood motorcycle. Now the Red Hood got his identity by mocking the Joker, who was originally Red Hood before he turned into the Joker. Here's this Red Hood, next to a couple of DC Direct Joker as Red Hood figures. And finally, next to a bunch of DC Direct Red Hood gang members. Now let's check them out. Next to some other Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent McFarlane figures. Here he is, next to the black and white with red accent Superman and Martian Manhunter figures. Big Bad Toy Store also released a black and white with yellow accent Aquaman and Flash. And they also released a black and white with green accent Joker and Spawn figures. Here are all of the different Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. We have a total of 6 so far, and I would say with complete confidence, Red Hood is my favorite of the bunch. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Reign of the Superman Steel. There's a Platinum Chase variant of Steel out there, and I'm on the hunt for one of those. If anybody has a lead on where I might be able to get one, please drop me a line in the comments below. Here's Red Hood, next to the Amazon exclusive Lobo with Deluxe Space Hog set. And here he is, next to some recent Target exclusive Jokerized stuff. Then, next to some more recent Target exclusive releases, we have Animal Man, Red Tornado, Midnighter, and Wave Rider. And now, next to some Walmart exclusive releases, Black Lightning, Owlman, and then the Vampire, Robin, and Green Lanterns. Here's Red Hood, next to both the regular and the Platinum Chase variants of McFarlane's Collector's Edition Wonder Woman. And here he is, next to the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 3, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Captain Carrot, Superman, and Batman as Green Lantern. Then, next to some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures, we have the Line Art Sketch Black Manta, the Deadly Duo Joker, Patina variant of Merciless, and the Heath Ledger Interrogation Room Joker. And now, next to the Batman and Robin movie wave, collected build and Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze. Here's Red Hood, next to the Target exclusive Flashpoint wave, collected build Cyborg. Then, next to the Injustice 2 Superman, and both versions of Brainiac. And finally, next to the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and both versions of the Jim Gordon Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Red Hood, next to a wrench. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and some NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, next to some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a very nice Red Hood figure. The black and white with red accents work very well on this guy. He is a variant of my favorite McFarlane Red Hood, and they've made a bunch, but the new 52 Red Hood is by far their best. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. Articulation is pretty good considering it's from a year 1 McFarlane figure. I'd say it still holds up pretty nicely today. Accessories are good. Well, they're pretty much non-existent. He really needs the pistols, and I know it's out of McFarlane's control. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And if I give this one a 7.5 out of 10, the regular version gets an 8.5. It's a fantastic figure, but I know it's pretty hard to come by nowadays. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.